Welcome to Urban Legends, and in tonight's video, we're going to explore the top 10 Dogman sightings. As usual, we saved the scariest for last. In September of 2006, a Minnesota college student named Matt was up late, working on his homework, when he heard strange noises coming from outside. When he looked out his window to find the source of these unusual sounds, he saw a large group of birds which flew out from a thicket of trees near his house, which was an odd thing to happen in the middle of the night. After a few minutes, all the noises stopped, so Matt continued to work, but then he was startled by a blood-curdling, almost murder victim-like scream. Worried that somebody was in danger, Matt rushed outside. The high-pitched screaming continued as he ran out into the road, and just as an oncoming car approached, Matt saw something odd in the glow of its headlights. It was a large and powerfully built humanoid creature with a wolf-like head. The screaming stopped, and the dogman ran off as soon as the car approached, making it very hard for Matt to recount too many details. The car then stopped behind Matt, and he saw that it was the police, who were just patrolling the neighborhood. Matt told them what he'd witnessed, and they searched the immediate area, but found nothing. Later in the night, Matt would hear that same noise, and it carried on for the next few evenings, before it abruptly stopped. Matt never heard or saw the creature again after that, and he had no idea what it was. Cannock Chase is a national landscape located in Staffordshire, England. It covers approximately 6,800 hectares and has been the center of many supernatural goings-on, especially when it comes to werewolves and dogmen. In 2012, a young man and woman were parked in a lay-by when they saw something large moving in the bushes, roughly 10 to 15 meters away from the car. The man, who was behind the wheel, turned on the headlights and realized that he was looking at the outline of a human-like figure that stood 7 to 8 feet tall, judging by the surrounding features. The creature seemed like it was eating something, but when it noticed them, it turned and began to charge the car, which prompted the witnesses to quickly reverse and drive away. They were both badly shaken up as they had never seen this animal before. This sighting in particular goes against the theory by skeptics that a large dog is the cause of the sightings in the Cannock Chase area. What the couple described is a classic dogman. In the Michigan town of Big Rapids in 1961, a night watchman for a large manufacturing plant was walking the perimeter at around 3 in the morning when he heard someone or something trying to break through the chain-link fence, which bordered the Haymarsh State Game area. There had recently been many dogman sightings in Big Rapids, and the locals were concerned about their safety. The watchman realized that he had left his gun in the security office, which was luckily nearby, but when he returned outside, he was shocked to see a huge and powerfully built animal which stood 6 to 7 feet tall and was covered in brown fur. This animal seemed to alternate between walking on its hind legs and on all fours, but it looked comfortable on either as it made its way along the path before jumping over the fence into the hay marsh. The watchman, who was disturbed by the incident, had seen all manner of animals, including bears and coyotes, but this was something different altogether, and from that evening, he carried a high-powered rifle on every watch. Since the 1770s, when local Shawnee tribes inhabited the region of Webster County, West Virginia, a particularly large and powerful werewolf has been said to roam the forests and mountains. It is known to weigh between 450 and 500 pounds, and stand 7 to 8 feet tall. One notable incident involved a father and son who were driving along a desolate country road late one night. Their headlights illuminated a massive hunched figure with strong limbs and glowing eyes. It glared at them for a moment before leaping off into the forest. This animal is extremely well known in the area, and the locals speak of eerie howls echoing through the valleys during moonlit nights. Others claim to have glimpsed the creature and report that its eyes glow a fierce yellow, creating a truly terrifying sight. Skeptics dismiss these accounts as folklore, while believers hold on to the possibility that the Webster werewolf still roams the wilderness. In November 2007, outside of Reed City in Michigan, a man named Sam and his 2 friends were out hunting, each positioned in their own stand, which were far apart. Once it had gotten dark, Sam noticed that the sounds of birds and insects had completely stopped and a herd of deer suddenly ran past him, but following the deer was a predator that he had never seen before. It looked like a wolf, but it walked on two legs, and was particularly menacing. Terrified, Sam stayed put until his friends arrived, though they proceeded to make fun of him after he told them what he saw. The very next day, however, the three men went hunting again, and at around 5 p.m., Sam heard multiple shots being fired from about 100 feet away, followed by intense screaming coming from his walkie-talkie. The men regrouped and Sam's friend, who was panicked, described the exact same Dogman that Sam had seen, though thankfully, it ran away this time as well. Although they were very wary by this point, the men went hunting a third time and saw the creature again, but did not manage to hit it, although they observed the tracks it had left in the snow. On Halloween night in 1991, Doris Gibson was driving along Bray Road in Wisconsin, which is an area that is plagued with Dogman sightings, when her vehicle collided with an unseen obstacle, causing the front tire to lift off the ground momentarily. Startled and disorientated, Doris peered through the mist, trying to make sense of what had happened. She even got out of her car to look around, and that's when she saw it, a creature unlike anything she'd ever encountered. Standing at the edge of the road, she witnessed a bizarre fusion of human and wolf. Its strong body stood between 6 and 7 feet tall, and its head bore the unmistakable features of a wolf. Doris's heart raced as she observed the creature. It moved with an unsettling fluidity, sometimes walking on all fours, other times rising onto its hind legs like a biped. Its eyes glowed with intensity, reflecting the moonlight. Doris quickly got back into the car as the creature charged towards her, and it jumped on the vehicle, but slid off due to the rainwater that had made the surface slick. The next day, Doris investigated images of werewolves and dogmen, and indicated that was exactly how the beast looked. She described it as a freak of nature, one of God's mistakes. The Beast of Bray Road remains one of the most witnessed werewolves in North America. A powerlifter was rafting with some friends one sunny day in the state of Georgia when nature called, so he climbed out of his raft and threw some trees into a small clearing. From out of the undergrowth, the man said that he witnessed something that he described as looking like a genetically mixed entity of man, wolf, and primate. The Dogman creature seemed curious of the man, who quickly made his way back to the raft and away from the riverbank. He later said of the incident, "I spent 21 years in the army, all over the world and in 3 different theaters of war, and I have barely slept at all since seeing this thing, an enormous canine-type creature. I can still taste the fear in my throat and my own vomit. I am 6 foot tall and about 250 solid pounds, and this thing dwarfed me. At least 7'6" and maybe 350 to 400 pounds. The creature has not been reported since." On November 7 in 2016, a graphic designer was driving along Maple Grove Road in Minnesota. It was a particularly cold night, and as she went to check the heating in the car was on full power, she saw a bizarre upright cryptid that ran from behind a lamppost, across the road, and into a field with a very old barn. She described the creature as being approximately 7 feet tall with an extremely hunched back. It had a long wolfish face with a pronounced snout and short pointed ears. It moved awkwardly, as if it were walking on its haunches much like a gorilla. The graphic designer froze for a second, watching the Dogman move, until she saw a pair of headlights illuminate it from behind, bringing into focus the creature's silhouette much more clearly. She panicked and drove to a nearby gas station, where she waited for her husband to meet her, and she described an overwhelming, almost supernatural fear weighing down on her like a thick sludge. As soon as she told her family about the strange encounter, her sister confessed to having seen the same hunched wolf-like animal years ago, standing at the edge of her property and staring into her house with piercing red eyes. In the early 1960s, a truck driver reported that while he was traveling down a countryside road in Yorkshire, he noticed what appeared to be a pair of red lights by the side of the road. According to the driver, when he slowed down to get a better look at the lights, a huge wolf-like creature lunged out and attacked his truck. The creature tried to break the windshield before disappearing back into the woods. As it did, the driver realized that the pair of red lights were really the creature's glowing red eyes. When residents of Yorkshire began to hear about the driver's encounter, they realized that the giant wolf bore a frightening resemblance to a werewolf known as Old Stinker. With so many sightings from residents of the nearby towns, Old Stinker became a viral sensation. Reports of the cryptid were published in national papers, and the people of Hull were concerned that they were at risk of being attacked. So several citizens planned a werewolf hunt. On the next full moon, a journalist, a local historian, and a folklorist and his family gathered in search of the beast. However, the weather was so bad that they had to abandon before they even started. Old Stinker has been known in the area for centuries, and its face is said to look almost human, but its breath is reported to smell like rotting meat, hence its name. In the small town of Reed City, Michigan in 1993, a 13-year-old girl named Courtney sneaked out for a cigarette behind her family's farmhouse. It was nighttime and in the middle of winter, so she walked to an old abandoned barn which stood at the back of her family's property. As she got closer to the barn, she noticed something moving inside, breaking the glints of light seeping through the gaps in the planks. She was curious and peered inside. What she saw left her frozen with fear. There was an enormous animal in there, one she had never seen before. Its yellow eyes were hypnotizing, and she couldn't tear her gaze away. The creature seemed to be staring right at her. Courtney later described the animal as a buffalo-sized dog, standing upright like a man but with the unmistakable features of a wolf or dog. She slammed the door shut and ran back to her house. The next day, she shared her encounter with a neighbor. To her surprise, the neighbor confirmed having seen a similar creature walking around the barn for the past few days, and Courtney never sneaked outside the house again. That concludes the top 10 real Dogman sightings. Have you ever seen one of these creatures? If so, leave your experience in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time for more urban legends.